See what's going to happen here as we get set up and ready to go in the lower left hand corner of the map. From Team Liquid, we do have Ret, the red Zerg player, who just took down Genji in game number 1 to put his team at a 1-0 advantage here in this best of 7 all kill. Again, Liquid, they got off to pretty much a dream start in the SC2ITL, a 4-1 victory over EC Visualize, who are one of the weaker teams. So I would say it's probably fair to say this is Liquid's first real challenge in the SC2ITL, and we'll see how strongly they perform today. If they put in a good performance today, they are going to be, if they can win today, they're going to be right at the top of the table, actually, probably. And with a strong opponent down and 2 wins on the table, that would be a brilliant start to the season for the first 2 weeks. In the upper right-hand corner, we have our blue Terran player from Invasion eSports. They had a bit of a thrashing last week, though this guy did not get the chance to play. It's GuMiHo, the blue Terran player. So he gets the chance to play here today. Barracks on the way down for him. It's just a Barracks first. Gas coming down on 11. So a little bit of an aggressive Reaper timing. A little bit more aggressive than kind of a 12 Reaper opening. And I guess that maybe... No, I don't know anymore, actually. It's been a while since I thought about this. I guess maybe it opens him to go into a third Reaper a little bit more easily. Let's see what he does. I mean, in general, it just gets your Reaper out a little bit sooner, so... We'll see what happens here. There's a first hatchery on the way down here for Ret. Down the bottom side of the map. We are in cross spawns, guys. As my music's disabled on EU, that's why. So we are in cross spawns, and being in cross spawns, that means we're going to have probably a macro game. I mean, it's going to be really good for our Zerg player, actually, because it's much harder to... It's much harder for the Terran to just rally across the map and keep on pushing. So GuMiHo will have to rely a lot more on drops than anything else to kind of pull his opponent out of position and to try and see what he can do with that. Instead of just kind of rallying down, you know, if Red spawned in the bottom right position, you can just rally southwards and just continuously push, you know, use the watchtower and just continue push into this full base of the Zerg. So that'll be a bit harder in this game. And yeah, we have the Reaper popping out, and we'll be heading across the map here in a few moments' time to try and see what it can get up to. We did see Red go into a gas here fairly quickly. He's just mined 40 or so, yeah, so far. It wasn't before his pool, but he will get his speed up nice and quickly as second Reaper starts up for GuMiHo. First Reaper going to spot this bottom right-hand location, see his opponent isn't there, and then we'll head towards the cross-spawn location, knowing that that is the only place his opponent could be. So this Reaper pops up, sees his opponent isn't here, and again heads towards that bottom left-hand side of the map now. There's the first couple of queens on the way out for Ret, so he's going to have... he shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with this early Reaper. We're even going to see a couple of Zerglings begin moving across the map, see if they can maybe force a cancel... Well, not force a cancel, but delay that command center at all. Depends if they're able to kind of avoid this second Reaper, which right now it definitely looks as though they may be able to do. First Reaper comes in here though, and, well, Queen's about to pop out, so Ret just needs to control his drones well enough for now, and that is what he will do. And that first drone staying alive. Again, second Reaper coming across here. And Ret actually turns his Zerglings around, which I really do think is a bit of a mistake, because there's nothing really over here for GuMiHo. So he could have... Well, I guess maybe not. Third Reaper's popping out, and that'll come across the map now as well. Actually, Ret taking a lot of damage on this first Queen. He needs to be very careful, because he can't afford to take too much damage from the first 2 Reapers, because considering there's a third Reaper on the way, you know, that's going to be kind of deadly should he end up with... you know, should he end up with already low hit point queens, because then they're almost definitely going to die. Sends that lower health queen back into the main base now, where he's going to be able to inject. Pneumatized Carapace just finished up in the main base, and we're going to be able to see that third queen popping out at the natural as well. So this is a pretty standard opening for our Zerg play here. As Ret is continuing to mine gas, or he's just gone back into gas very recently. So we'll see what he wants to do with his first 100 gas, which he mines after that Zergling speed. See if he wants to go into a very fast lair and try and get something done with that. He sees these 3 Reapers for now, and back at home GuMiHo is just going into the starport and third command center as well. So all good so far. These 3 Reapers jump on up in towards the higher ground, and we'll see if they can pick off anything in the main. And Ret a little bit slower to respond here. We'll lose that first worker, and actually the Queen, which is being brought down a little bit from earlier on, starting to take some damage. In fact, there's nothing really here to defend any of these drones. He doesn't have any Zerglings. He kind of didn't make any, so a little bit too greedy here from Ret. As these Reapers are really getting quite a lot done. How many workers is that so far? 5, going to go up to maybe 6 here. There's 6, and Zergling speed was actually cancelled by Ret. He actually never got Zergling speed, in fact. He just made a roach warren, which is coming up at the front here, so I imagine he's going to try and make some roaches, but he's just lost a lot of mining time, and maybe just decides to not go for this anymore because of that. But he needs something out to defend from these Reapers, as, again, I was so sure he had circling speed, but he did cancel that, as this Reaper will be turned away by these first 2 Queens, and all 3 of them will just back off here for now. Don't know if GuMiHo, I mean, he will have seen the spawn pool, and he saw no speed on the Zerglings, so he must know there's no speed, which means immediately he has to just stop preparing for roaches. I mean, what else is there going to be? As a 3rd command center will begin moving out. He's got a Banshee on the way, and that's going to be great defensively. We've also got that armory on the way down, so looking as though he wants to at least open Hellbat Banshee here. But as he takes his extra gases so quickly, probably just going to be straight up mech play from as a Terran player. These few Hellions are sitting at this ramp. There's some creep being pushed forwards. This 3rd hatchery on the way down now from Ret. So, I mean, despite the kind of mishaps with the earlier Reapers doing quite a bit more than we maybe expected, Ret's in an alright position. He could have had a few more drones than he does, but he's got plenty here to deflect this initial group of Hellions. And look at this, these Hellions just walking in here. 2 Hellions go down immediately. And Ret able to turn this away without much of an issue at all. This Banshee will move forwards. Cloak's about to finish Spore Crawler. Yes, it is a Spore Crawler, so he's going to be okay in terms of detection. And he does have a lair on the way, so very shortly an Overseer will come in. He's got pneumatized carapace, so the mobile detection will be nice and quick, and he should be able to deal with this Banshee fairly easily. Hellbats do start to morph in here, and they're going to start running in, as these Reapers are going to tank a few of these first shots. Now this is only 5 Hellbats, because he did lose them the first couple of Hellions a little bit earlier than he maybe would have liked to. Good control so far by Ret. He just now loses his first Roach. He's going to lose a second Roach now, but he's dealt with this with no problem. And this is going to get turned away. At the same time, though, Banshee in towards the main base is going to start picking off some workers over here. And you can see already just a couple of workers going down. 3 kills on this Banshee, going to go up to 4. As the Overseer coming in will be able to give him that little bit of extra vision. But the Banshee going to be able to pick up his 5th worker kill before that, and will now be able to escape. Counterattack coming across the map from Red, but only a handful of Zerglings and a couple of Roaches. And a single Banshee over here is, with these Hellions, is going to be more than enough to turn this around. And Red, realising he's not going to be able to get much done, will probably just go back to focusing on his creep spread and preparing for the later stages of this game. Now 3 bases are up for our Terran play, which means that Red probably wants to start thinking about the 4th base in the very near future. So we'll see very soon. A couple of depots coming down here for GuMiHo. He's just starting to build up his wall, as he's now up to 3 Banshees, and this is something we've been seeing a lot more in mech play lately. The kind of higher Banshee count coming back into play. Now you'll remember if you used to watch Rings of Liberty, when MVP kind of revolutionized mech in TVZ again. He played with this kind of mass Banshee style, and it was really, really effective, and it was really kind of allowed you a lot of safety against kind of the roach drops that came in, and just the general timings which hit before mech was at its strong point. So for a long time here in Mech and Heartless 1, we haven't really seen kind of big mass Banshee play be a big deal, but it's becoming that once again here, because there's just no real way to deal with it easily. And I mean, Mutalisks, you kind of need Mutilus or Corruptors to kind of deal with them efficiently. I mean, you can use Queens, but it's kind of risky, right? As Rhett is building up more Queens, because he has got a Nidus network. He's going to start dropping this here, and he's going to go for one big attack at the front. So the Queens are going to be a very important part of this, because he's going to need to get those out, spread the creep forwards, and they're going to be his anti-air against this Banshee in this attack. Let's watch GuMiHo's reaction as this Nidus network pops up, and he hears it, and immediately just looking around. I mean, he has full coverage of his base, so he knows that's not going to be he knows that's not going to be too much of an issue. Is there an Overseer here? He doesn't have it. Okay, there's the Overseer. Overseer coming in, zooming forwards, and Rhett needs to start dropping these transfuses. The first Queen's taking a little bit of damage, and Rhett, this is a pretty strong push from him. The first couple of 4s are just on their way now, as these Queens moving forwards as well. Need to get in range of those Banshees though, as Rhett going to be able to move up this ramp, going to start getting quite a bit of damage done. GuMiHo actually pulling his SCVs onto the 4s to keep those alive there. This is a lot of Queens from Rhett right now, as these Hellbats are falling very, very quickly. Once the Hellbats are down, the next wave of this attack will just be the SCVs, as Rhett continues to push forwards, and GuMiHo looking as though he's in a little bit of trouble. These depots are going to start going down here as well. And wow, GuMiHo forced over in towards his natural. However, tanks are now up, and this immediately makes this sort of attack a little bit harder to get anything really done with. So I think Rhett should maybe just back off, not really keep fighting in towards these siege tanks, but he's going to try to anyways. Maybe he feels as though he just really needs to get kind of more damage done than he's already done, because he hasn't really killed many SCVs. He's just forced to lift on the third base, but running in towards this natural expansion just isn't working out for him right now. The SCVs are repairing the Hellbats, the tanks are shelling away in the back, and the transfusers coming down on the Queens is just not going to keep them alive for long enough, sadly, as Red is going to get cleaned on up over here. And again, I mean, maybe he just felt he needed to do a little bit more damage. He's actually just going to type out GG and that'll be game. But yeah, maybe he felt he needed to do a bit more damage.